What's up, friends, and welcome into Leading Off. I am Chris Welsh. That is the Bubba, Casey Bubba in the house. Yeah, Ben. I was going to do a Ben thing, but I didn't do that. We are brought to you by PrizePicks. Use the promo code Leading Off. Get a 100% match up to $100. Download the app, make a deposit, use the promo code, and have so much fun. Hello, Peanuts. Hello, Cracker Jacks. It's very nice to see you on a Friday. I am, in my Fun Friday shirt. This is my most of dad shirts I possibly have. Bubba, I don't know if you can appreciate.
I'm proud of it.
It's almost Tommy Bahama-ish, if you will. Funny enough, I actually have like two of these, and both times my kid had like a meet the teacher type of thing. Like the student council people were there, and this one girl would be like, "I like your shirt," and I'm like, "You're being condescending. You're being very condescending." And I know it's a very bad type way to do it. But welcome into the show. Friday playoffs, big playoff run starting next week. Bubba, I know maybe some people have kind of jumped into it this week, but for every league that I play in, and the majority of what I've seen online, most people are getting down with it next week. So what's your attack for the playoffs this coming weekend? You got a bunch. You're a big best ball guy, so I don't know what you're.
I'm best ball and roto. I don't play a ton of head to head, so I just grind with the grind. But I have a lot of people in like Discord and stuff that are playing the head to head game. So we're looking ahead to like 2-week matchup setups and those kind of situations. Is a 2-start worth it more than a single start? There's some questions in the chat with similar kind of thoughts on this. So it's a big deal. It's like I've been telling people for about a month now, stop worrying about the rest of the season, worry about the weekly matchups, because you got to get there first.
That's right. Well, glad to have everybody here. Glad to have the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks all joining us today. We're going to be talking about the crazy prospect influx that just happened. We're going to be talking about everything we can to kind of prep you in. We're going to go through our bets. It's going to have so much fun. It's actually a big streaming day for me too. I got like 6 hours of streams we're doing. If anybody wants to hang out on the ITL Twitch stream today, breaking cards, I'm going to do my first. I've never done an immaculate grid in my life, by the way, life. And we're going to do one live.
I refuse. I love baseball. Everyone that knows me says it's built for me because I love old school baseball, but I just become addicted. I don't need another vice right now.
And see, that's my problem is I actually I'm not like a big old school guy. Like I'm not a big old school now I'm like a 90s, like early 2000s type of guy. But like Joe and I'll do the show here and Joe will be like, you remember blah, blah, blah from like 82. And I'm like, nope. Like,
yeah, but Joe still has his Newsies cap when he was 2. So it's like, we understand he's a little old school like that.
We weren't all born in the 70s, Joe.
Yeah.
So sorry.
We weren't handing out papers while Babe Ruth was hitting home runs and going through parades. It's just
exactly
how it goes.
I will tell you, I've also got a Where in the World Are Welsh Corbin Carroll. I cannot for the life of me come up with the clue that is not going to absolutely give it away. So I'm going to just fly with it. I'm going to live fly with it. So that's a lot of stuff that's going on. Love to hear what your guys' plans for the playoffs are, what you're doing. And Brett said currently in first week of playoffs in my league, team is on fire. Perfect and hopefully timing. You can keep adding to it and hopefully we can help you with it. Maybe you're rocking with Ronald Acuna, who's on fire, 3 for 4 with a grand slam and a stolen base on Thursday. And the first, I still can't fathom this. The first player in Major League history with 30 homers and 60 stolen bases. I don't know why, but it stood out to me as like, no one's ever done this. Like no one ever. Like I guess inverse
Ricky
60-30s.
Yeah. Yeah, Ricky Henderson feels like he'd be one that would have done 30-60, but like I'm going to look up his numbers now while we talk because he had to be pretty darn close.
Well, it's the home run totals. Now, has anybody ever done a 60-30 season?
I doubt it. Like Bonds did the 40. There's been a few 40-40s. I think Bonds came close to 50-50, but like the hardcore steals guys. Yeah, the most Ricky had in 1990, he went 28-65.
Oh, so he was like super close to it.
In 1986, he went 28-87.
Wow. Okay, so he was like so we
almost 30-90. He almost went 30-90 in 1986.
What was that number again?
28 homers and 87 steals. He almost went 30-90 in 1986.
Well, I mean, Acuna could go 30, 70.
I'd say 70, 75-ish. It's still very possible for Acuna.
So one thing I wanted to bring up, and not to be outdone, Mookie then goes off and he goes 2 for 4, 2 homers, 4 RBI. I want to bring something up. If you remember a little conversation you and I had some time ago where I presented this really nifty thing where it was Ronald Acuna versus the field. And at that time, we weren't even talking about Mookie. I was
Freddie.
very intrigued by that field bet where you got plus at one point, I think it was 600, and then it went to 500. The odds now going into today, at least in one book that I saw, Acuna minus 130, bets minus 110. They're both minus money. Had you laid that bet we talked about on the field, I mean, it still might be Acuna going 30-60. I think is going to be incredibly difficult to overtake still, but bets is in play here, and in some of those places also. Now, this book isn't the one that like lets you buy like every single day, like I mean, FanDuel's the one that lets you kind of like buy out. It's not that place. So I don't think they had a field bet, but I'm just wanted to say that field bet is looking mighty fun right now if you were invested in it, because these two are going in the race. So who do you think? I'm just curious, where do you think this is going to go? You said Acuna before. Things have opened up. Acuna is incredible, but Mookie Betts insanely underrated. What's your side?
Yeah, he's insanely underrated, Betts is, but it's still Acuna's MVP. I'm not wavering from that one. As long as he keeps showing up and playing like at least 6 games a week, he's not going to let it go.
And do you think it's going to be like a unanimous?
I think it'll be pretty. I doubt it'll be fully unanimous because writers have egos these days and they don't want anybody to be unanimous. But I think it'll be pretty darn unanimous. Like he gets at least 80% of the first.
I was gonna say I think it's gonna be like 22 first place votes, 8 for Mookie. Like it'll seem like a little bit more lopsided than we think it is, at least like what the odds are laying. But listen, Mookie is doing incredible stuff.
Well deserved. It's just those. It happens you can look back at MVP awards almost every season. There's always a runner up. Or like, dang, any other year, like that's his year, like all the time.
Do you think is Mookie the number 2 fantasy guy next year?
No.
Overall, you did the draft, and
it won't be 4. Mookie. He'll be mid to late first round still, just because he'll fall back with like if Corbin Carroll stays healthy with Julio's rise. People still love Tatis. Spencer Strider's getting towards the top.
Even with second base eligibility,
it'll be the stolen bases will move people ahead of him. That's just the way it'll go in draft season. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's just what's going to happen.
I think Wonky, is that you running the Fantasy Pros?
Yes, it is Wonky. Yeah,
I mean, can we run a poll? I would be curious. Like, I'm trying to think of how do we phrase the question? Like, who do you take? Maybe it's just who do you take number 2 overall in drafts after Acuna, and put like Carroll, Julio, Betts. Is there one other person?
It'll be Julio, Betts, Tatis, Carroll. If you really get to go, Strider's the one. Strider's the one that people are taking up there.
That's your NFBC stuff. It's not happening in Roto.
That's the league you're asking about.
Yeah, no, okay, that's true. But like, I think high dollar NFBC leagues, you're going to take a pitcher that high. You're not going to do it even in Roto right now. Yeah, I would be curious to see who do you take number 2?
That's
Mookie, Julio, Carroll, and you can put Strider if you want.
You have to play Betts at second base is an elite option. There's no denying that. The way people talk every draft season, it's stolen bases. We need stolen bases. And that always gets Mookie to fall to like mid to late first round. That's just how it goes every single season.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong. It definitely lies in there. You guys have questions, by the way, for the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks. Drop it. We will get our little section where we are going to be answering some of your questions. I'm already starring some of them. So do it in the chat. And why would you not hang out live with us if you still have an opportunity? All September long, we're still doing these shows. So come and hang out with us live on the YouTube, the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. We did get resolution to Waivergate, but it got messier and yuckier because we all found out. I saw Dan Heron post about this, and I completely agree because I didn't remember this. But apparently, one team gets to just claim everybody, and it doesn't reset, which is insanely stupid. I was telling Bogman this yesterday. It seems like MLB should maybe run their waivers just through like Yahoo or Fantrax or something like that, because I don't understand why the Guardians were able to claim everybody. I do understand, but it's stupid. Yes. The Reds and Guardians claimed absolutely everybody. So you guys know Giolito, Lopez, Matt Moore were claimed by the Guardians. The Reds, they claimed Hunter Renfroe and Harrison Bader. We got Renfroe in the lineup today at 4, hitting 4 here. And I also want to point out his total base prop today is 1.5 plus 130. So I'm kind of tempted about that. Your winners for this waiver deadline move. I think there's one clear winner, but I'm curious really if Giolito and going to Cleveland does anything for you. But as far as these new destinations for these 5 players, is there any like big fantasy bump for you either way?
If anything, it's Renfroe getting into Great American Small Park. It's just like we're seeing it in game 1 of the doubleheader, lefty Wicks on the mound. So there's no Friedel, no Benson. You got Renfroe, you got Bader. I'm curious to see what game 2's lineup looks like with the righty on the mound. The Reds have a full-on platoon situation in the outfield now. And Jake Fraley also got activated from the IL before game 1. So they have 3 really good outfielders that are left-handed. Now you got at least 2 if you want to throw a Senzel in there. You got 3 really good right-handed outfielders. There can be a massive platoon situation taking place there. So I really want to see how it plays out this weekend before I get overly excited on any of it. It's a great baseball move. We saw the Braves do it when they lost to Cunha a few years ago. Get all the outfielders, platoon them. It works great. Fantasy-wise, it could be a very, very big headache.
I'm in. Doobie's saying like Fraley's back. The Reds don't need Renfroe. That's in the chat. Like maybe, but I think that power potential is huge for him. No shocker. Usually every single player, their expected home run totals are highest in Cincinnati. Yep. And that's the case for Hunter Renfroe. But like, it's a skew. We did this on ITL. It's a skewed thing because it says like, if you were to have all your hits in your own ballpark, this is what you would do. He has 19 homers. He was actually projected 15 if he were just hitting every single game with the Angels. 25 with the Reds. It's number 1 of any team. There were only 7 other teams, I believe, with 20-plus homer projected for Hunter Renfroe. So it's a very hitter-friendly ballpark. He hits the ball really hard. He's going to be hitting a primary part of the order. So I don't know, man. Like Strand has been kind of stinking it up a little bit. Like I think this Renfroe move is a must. I would go and actively pick him up. But he's the only one of this group. I'm in debater. But I think it could be a little bit dicey because what you said, all the platoony stuff. And I don't think I'm like crazy about Giolito right now. Like he's been awful. And I don't think there's enough time for the Guardians to like really fix him or change this. I don't know if you feel different.
No, I think he'll be fine. Like he's had really good moments of pitching this year, really rough moments. He still has the velocity's decent. The swing and miss is great. He's just given way too many runs up, obviously, which is a problem for our game we play. I think he'll be fine. He'll get a few more games against the AL Central, even though it's a even schedule this year. But I wouldn't get too excited. Like Renfroe's the clear winner here because the other reason, unlike the other players, the offensive players, Renfroe can play outfield, first base, and DH. So his options to platoon are like wider, if that makes sense. That's why you mentioned Strand. Even Votto's coming back early September. Votto and Renfroe can split DHing while Renfroe goes and plays the outfield sometimes. Like there's avenues for Renfroe where a lot of these other guys feel very platoony.
Yeah, I just don't feel like there's even though I know it was like, hey, they don't need Renfroe. I don't feel like a situation where they're going to find ways to not have Renfroe in there. I think you're going to find ways to get him in the lineup every single day.
It just depends if they cherish defense or not. And I don't know if they do in Cincinnati.
Well, you got a DH. Let him DH every single day then. That I'll take that bet over anybody. What was it? Wonky, interesting. Giolito and Lopez have been on the same 4 teams for the exact same period of time, always claimed, traded, waived, or together. People forgetting that they were both Nationals together, traded for Adam Eaton. And then
that was a big one.
White Sox, and then Angels, and then Guardians.
Back to the Guardians.
Maybe even more amazing than that exact stat is they have been on the same team at the exact same time, 3 different teams this year in 1 year.
That's big. And that Adam Eaton deal, Ronaldo Lopez was the high prospect, not Giolito. That's the fun one that people might forget.
That what? Say it again.
Ronaldo Lopez was the cherished prospect people wanted in that early deal.
Yeah, I mean, Giolito was still the guy,
still
but
high.
Lopez was like it was dude. Huge. Yeah. And what was the other piece too? Was
it Matt Manning? It feels like that's the name. No, it's another pitcher like that though.
Ronaldo Lopez,
Dane
Giolito, and Dane Dunning. 100%. It was Dane Dunning.
I knew it was an ing. That's why I was like, I know this one.
One of the most ridiculously lopsided.
Yeah.
I mean,
White Sox doing White Sox things, baby.
It's a move that the Diamondbacks would have done. They just give up everybody, and they're just like, okay, we got nothing. A couple other notes here. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said that Walker Buehler is going to begin a minor league rehab assignment this Sunday in AAA in Oklahoma. He said that he's going to throw roughly 1 or 2 innings in the rehab debut and will require at least 3 rehab outings before he's ready to return to the Dodgers, whatever pitching mix that's going to be. So if it's Sunday and they go by a 5, because I still don't know how he's going to be pushed into major innings, but if he goes 5, that's going to line him up to like the end of next week, maybe the beginning of the following week, which really kills for anyone in fantasy playoffs. Maybe gives you 2 solid weeks of whatever that production is going to be. So the question is, do you have any interest in Walker Buehler in his comeback?
No, because the Dodgers have made it very clear they're not bringing him back till he can be an everyday starter or an every 5-day starter for them. They've said he's going to need at least 3 more starts after this one, like you mentioned. Their goal, I think, is to maybe get 1 or 2 starts at the end of September before the play. They want him in. They want him in October. They don't care about our fantasy teams. They don't care about September. They want him in October.
Yeah. The last little piece of news before we get to the rookie lookie, Brewers signed Josh Donaldson. So there's like a rumor like, hey, this should be a fit. And they signed him to a minor league deal, which I hope they keep him in the minors. I think that would be good. I bet he'd be like a really great mentor
to those kids. Oh,
I'm sure he's going to be like really excited.
One of those pros that goes and buys all the dinners and everything to like let them know the show's all about. Totally one of those guys.
I'm sure he's going to go buy everybody Chipotle or something. Yep. He's going to be awesome.
Buy your own guac though. I'm not buying the guac, kids.
Yeah, him and Granky, they got issues with that. On to the rookie lookies. I didn't know. I actually had to ask Bubba before. I just couldn't remember had this happened when we were doing the show. I think it happened a little bit later, but there is a barrage of prospect call-ups. So the biggest one is Jason Dominguez being called up to the majors, going to play for the Yankees. Might be in the lineup today. I'm not 100% sure. They also called up Austin Wells. And then Joel Sherman reported that Ronnie Mauricio is getting called up by the Mets. So let's stop there into that group because I'm going to do little pairings here. Jason Dominguez, Ronnie Mauricio, and Austin Wells. Rank your level of interest. And maybe you don't have interest really in any standard format for any of these guys.
Yeah, I'll be up front first. I'm not really excited to go crazy on many of these prospects. But if I had to go through these 3, it'd be Dominguez, Mauricio, Wells. That's how I look at this one. The Martian's a stud, but he can't even buy his own beers yet. So this could be a shell shock. He's played 7 games in AAA. Like let's like slow the beat for a second, but that would be the order I would go if I was going to go.
Yeah, I am the same order, but they are tiered. And I think Jason Dominguez is close to like a must pick up in a 12-team 5 outfielder. I would speculate. I will bet you your 5th, or even if you have a bench outfielder, is not good enough that you don't want to not speculate on Jason Dominguez, because I think he'll play every day. Bader's gone. He's going to get to play center field. He'll be the guy. He's been hitting the ball insanely hard. 39 stolen bases in the minors this year. I think he'll be running like crazy. He's just going to hit probably lower in the lineup. Ronnie Mauricio, I think there's going to be playing time issues, and Austin Wells, probably not super interested. Lee did say rank your interest in Dynasty. Well, I mentioned this on a couple shows, but Dominguez, I had moved up to 7 on my Dynasty list, which is getting updated on my Patreon on Monday. As far as prospects go. So prospect ranks, he was number 7 overall, and the others are a little bit further behind. Mauricio's like a top, I want to say I had him like top 60 somewhere in there, and Wells I have outside the top 100. So that's kind of my Dynasty rank. So then the next crew, the Mets recalled Brett Beatty, and they're doing that today. And then Colton Cowser is getting the call. Oh, I want to do this other one. Colton Cowser is getting called up by the Orioles. And in a surprise move, the Cubs are not bringing up Pete Crow Armstrong, and they brought up Alexander Canario, who's missed tons of time, played a little bit, which I think is crazy. I don't know what we're doing with
I don't know
Pete Crow
why we're doing this. It makes 0 sense to me.
Well, dude, there's a rumor that Canario is going to go play in the AFL. So it's like, if you want to get those at bats, just let him play in AAA and go
Which
to
would
the
make
AFL.
so much more sense for a guy that's had such a nasty shoulder and ankle injury. The AFL is a great spot for him. Yeah.
I don't know if there might be some serious Cubs roster manipulation long term. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to let.
They're competing right now too. That's what's crazy. You think Pete Crow would be
better defender? He's
now it's September 1st. Now he's not even postseason eligible unless I think if there's an injury, he can somehow become.
But I don't understand it. He's a better defender. He's a better hitter. Yeah. There's more power with Canario. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think that's silly. So my question then is So you're going to rank them: Beatty, Cowser, and Canario.
Again, I'm not picking any of them up, but Cowser, Beatty, Canario is where I would go. The one thing I'll say about Cowser, he went back to the minors, a couple home runs, couple steals, striking out 35% of the time. He does not look good right now.
Yeah. I would go. What did you say? You said
Cowser, Beatty, Canario. I'd like any of them.
Beatty, Cowser, Canario, but I have pretty minimal interest because I think playing time is going to be really tough
100%.
like through the rest of the year. Brett mentioned that Canario's on the 40-man. But still, I think it's like make a 40-man move.
You can make that work some other way. You really can make that work.
They just weren't super interested in it. And then The other ones, we had Kyron Paris getting moved up from AA to the majors with the Angels, no shock, and the Royals picking up Nick Lofton. Lofton's a good utility player. Kyron Paris definitely has some home run potential, but has some pretty bad swing and miss issues and contact issues. To me, these are not even of interest in 15-team deep league, but do you feel any different, Bubs?
No, Paris maybe a little because there is some power speed there. We saw in AA, but still, like all the Angels are making that jump pretty quickly. So we'll see. Two guys that I know we talked about in previous shows, but I'm just going to compare them because they got called up recently. I'll take Cedane Rafaela and Wilyer Abreu over majority of the guys we mentioned right now because they're going to play nearly every day for the Red Sox, and that's very appealing to me.
Yeah, I think like to me, I would like Dominguez. I'd kind of put at the top for my speculation world, and then I think like Wilyer, Rafaela, Meadows. They're kind of a tier. Maybe I'd put Ronnie Mauricio because of the talent in there, and then there's just like a bigger tier of not interest. But we are. It doesn't mean none of these are going to happen, but like we are leaving what to me is kind of a shock. No Pete Crow, no Colt Keith, and nor Jordan Lawler either. As well, I think not seeing a lot of people are speculating about Jackson Holiday. He wouldn't make the postseason roster now. So would the Orioles really want to I think he's going to the AFL, but would they want to push? And I also think like there's less reason that you're going to potentially see like Jackson Churio and Caminero. The AAA season goes all the way to the end of September, and the AA down seasons end around September 10th, 11th, if a team isn't going to the playoffs. So, like you might see one of those guys around the 15th of September at best, but I'm not really sure a team is going to care to do that. So I think you kind of got your answers, unfortunately, on who and what prospects are going to be able to do much of anything right now. And
when do
some
they
of it's
announce the
disappointing
rosters for the AFL?
I mean, they do whatever the hell they want. There was one year they did it like a week before. In the past, they would do it like 2 months before. They've just pretty much finished kind of announcing all of the coaches. So I thought it would be today, if I'm being honest with you, but it might be like the questionable, like what are these teams doing with their rosters in the next week, sometime in the next week or something like that. I actually think that would be great to see right now because that could give us some clarity on if a team would want to push a player in the next couple of weeks. I'm probably just not speculating on the rest of the crew. Wonky gave us our poll, and according to the poll, Julio Rodriguez is going number 2 next year. So that's kind of, I think that's what you said. Wonky, can you drop the results? I'm curious where Mookie was in that between Carroll. Was Carroll going ahead of Mookie as well? I think we just continuously underestimate. And then only a couple injuries, and then we'll do only a few listener questions. Yu Darvish has got a bone spur in his elbow, received a cortisone shot, may not pitch again this season. Bye-bye. Gavin Williams dealing with right knee soreness. I guess that's the Giolito thing. And the Reds place Hunter Green on the COVID-19 injury list. I didn't even know that was still a thing. Apparently it's still a thing. So that's going on. So that's not great for him. A couple questions. Mason said, I can only start one. Who do you start? Joe Ryan versus Texas or Mitch Keller versus St. Louis?
Honestly, I'd start Mitch Keller. Been much better the last 3 or 4 starts. Better matchup for St. Louis. Joe Ryan was great in his return at home against Texas. I'd just rather pick the matchup with Keller versus St. Louis.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you on that one. I mean, Texas offense definitely can get absolutely slanging, except when I bet on them. So I'm not betting on them, so I assume that offense is going to go. So yeah, I'd go with Mitch Keller. Concase said rest of season drop Detmers for Wicks or Assad, or I guess not drop Detmers. What would you do?
I would be fine dropping them for Wicks, assuming Wicks stays in the rotation. That's still a big assumption. Otherwise, I'd still take Detmer's strikeout upside over Assad. Assad's been great, but it's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I agree with how you said that. I'm going to go with you. Michael poking the bear. How we feeling of Geloff going 3 for his last 32 in the last 8 games?
Michael, go take a lap.
Like you take a time out here. He hits a little bit at home. This is a worry about Geloff. I mean,
yeah, it's gonna happen. Like he couldn't be that great for so long, but if you look at where he's kind of regressed to, it's still a very, very, very good fantasy player.
Would you do you think he's someone you could start moving off of? I there's probably a good name that I should have asked you that I don't have in my head. Is there
like Davis Schneider or Geloff?
Well, okay, answer it.
I have both of them in a lot of rosters.
Go
right
ahead,
now.
have fun, answer it.
This weekend in Colorado, I'd play Davis Schneider over Geloff.
I think I probably agree with you. I mean, this is the type of year where you can kind of willy-nilly make
churn and burn
moves.
things. There's so many moving parts right now. Churn and burn.
Yeah, and Geloff has definitely gone through some like bad streaks of contact and stuff. And there's actually one of those reasons, by the way, why I kind of like Jason Dominguez. I don't know if the league is going to have enough time to make the adjustment to Jason Dominguez, where you see a lot of these guys like a month after you see pitch mix start to change and stuff like that. And I kind of think he might be able to take advantage of that. So last one, start Gossman Sunday at Coors, close in ERA, whip, quality start, and Ks.
Yep. You can start pitchers against the Rockies. The Rockies suck. Doesn't matter if it's in Coors Field. Yes.
Okay, then we're good here. The answer from Wonky was Mookie beat out Carroll by 2 points. So Mookie, I guess, would be an inherited number 3. Would be somewhere in there. So I think you buy that, right?
It's not bad. That's pretty fair.
Yeah. Justin said, thoughts on Gavin Williams rest of the season, sit or pick up another SP? I think you can pick up another SP. I'm not sure I would want to wait around. If you have the ability to wait around, sure. But if it's like, hey, Gavin Williams is hurt and I'm now losing a streaming spot and there's this kind of cool guy and this guy, move on, man. Like don't sit around.
Yep, that's fair. He's day to day. They're hoping to have him back next week, but hope is a fun thing this time of year.
Yeah, very, very true. All right. I don't know. The hint is just going to be too much. Where did Welsh and Corbin Carroll go this week? Let's go with box office. Box office. That's the best non-hint I can give you. Everything else would destroy it. Box office. That's the one. You can kind of take a guess on where we're going to go on the Fun Fridays. So sit on that, and we'll be doing that here very shortly. Weekend streamers. I've got a couple for you, and you just tell me which one you like. And I noticed I copied one twice. On Saturday, you've got Clevenger, who did not get claimed, by the way. $5 million were owed. He's going up against Detroit. Still, ownership is kind of low. Kyle Harrison is going up against San Diego this weekend. And I had a third, but I obviously copy and pasted it incorrectly. So if you had to pick one, Harrison versus San Diego or Clevy versus Detroit, where would you go?
The homer in me says Kyle Harrison, but I'm going to be 100% up front. Going 6 1/3 and throwing 90+ pitches last time out. This is a start where the typical Giants be like, hey, go throw 2 innings and we're going to let you rest till your next time out. I can see this coming a mile away with Kyle Harrison. That's who I want. That's who I would start. Just no letdown is very on the table with the Giants.
Okay, so Clevy, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I think Reese Olson also against Chicago that same day is a good one.
Okay. On Sunday, we have Oviedo, who's going up against St. Louis. He went 9 in his last one. Yep. We've got Seth Lugo going up against the Giants, who I looked at ownership. Again, definitely might be owned. And I'm not trying to tell you they're not owned in the leagues you're playing in competitive wise, but the numbers are still kind of low. And you've got Brian Wu versus the Mets. So Oviedo, Lugo, Wu. How would you rank those, or if you could only pick one?
Lugo, Wu, Oviedo. That's how I go about that.
Lugo, Wu. Oh, so Oviedo's at the bottom.
Oviedo's very good. I don't like playing some of these guys off of complete game shutout type games right out the gate.
Yeah. Okay. 3 up and 3 down. Spencer Strider went 6, gave up 4 earned runs, but he struck out 9. Volpe 2 for 4 with a homer and 3 RBI. A lot of Volpe conversations, like, dude's bad batting average, but he's going 2020. So it's absolutely insane what he's really done if you take a look at it and just the value that's going to be sitting out there next year. And Jazz 2 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBI on the down. Lance Lynn got them things beat around, Bubba. 4 1/3, 7 earned runs, gave up 3 homers, a very not Dodger-like start. Med Rosario 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. And Alex Lang, we had a couple Alex Lang, I think, questions that came in here. What was it? It was when Felix Bautista got hurt. It was like Yennier Cano or Alex Lang. And we're like, dude, Cano. And Alex Lang gave up 3 earned runs in 1 appearance. Not good.
Yeah, 100% with you. It's not good at all. And Lang struggled a lot last month. It's been kind of a revolving door in the back end of that bullpen.
Yeah. Let's go and check out some PrizePicks. Use that promo code leading off. You guys know the drill. Get a 100% match up to $100. They are the best. They are the leaders in this game format. Go and check them out today. Download the app and check out all the awesome options they have. But I will tell you, I found them very difficult today. going through, it was they definitely were testing. And one thing I tend to do when I get tested like this is I don't want to just fall in and take like, the hit run RBI or the score necessarily, even though that's kind of the easy play, is I tend to start poking around at some of these other plays. So just real quick here, I actually have 4 plays for you. One of my 4 is like a standard play, which I consider standard plays, fantasy score, strike, and MLB pitcher strikeouts. Like those are like the 2, like just you go to them. The next round is like hit run RBI. So the only like standard play I have is Bryce Harper at 8.5, who's been an absolute freak the last week. 8.5 is a good number. Here are my weird plays. Max Scherzer, Joe Ryan, no run first inning, little nerfy action here. I've got Mitch Keller and Eduardo Rodriguez outs over 16.5. So I'm essentially betting for those guys to like get to 6. And I think both of those matchups we talked about, Keller, Eduardo Rodriguez is going up against, I believe, the White Sox, yes, and Tuki Toussaint. So I really like those 2. I like the Scherzer. To be honest with you, I might just not even play the Bryce Harper one if I want to stick to 3. So those are my prize picks today. What say you, Bubba?
Brandon Belt's over 1.5 total bases. He's day to day, which is the story of his life. But he gets Chris Flexen and Coors, and he's been hitting it really well when he's playing. So I'll take that one. I love the Rays today versus Cal Quantrill. So Randy Rosarena over 7.5 fantasy points, I think is a gift. And then Josh Lowe has been really, really good over the last week or so. Over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I could see Lowe finding the seats in this one.
Okay, over on the bets here, what bets are you placing today? Again, this is another tough one. I'm only sticking to I got a 2-piece today that I really felt comfortable with, but what about you?
Rosarena over 1.5 total bases at plus 125. I think is a nice price. Santander has been nuclear hot. He's over 1.5 total bases at plus 105 against Zach Davies. And then Torque over 1.5 total bases at plus 140 versus Tuki in that one.
Okay, so you got you're a whole. I feel like total base has been your thing. We needed you early on.
It's a DFS mindset. That's what it's like. It's something I focus on doing DFS. So when I see plus value on them, I'm intrigued to play them.
It's a good point, and that's the Renfroe one. He's not a big total base monster, but I will say when he is getting hits for the last few, like 10
minutes,
days,
so put it in, people.
Yeah, it's about to kick off here, so it's probably not a play. My bets today, I will say I flipped this, so I'm a little bit worried. I've got a Houston and Miami first 5 money line play. Just so everybody knows, I also had Detroit in there for Eduardo Rodriguez. I decided to take Detroit out to go in favor of Justin Verlander, who's going up against the Yankees. So it's just both of these teams are winning through the first 5 innings, and that pays out like 1.5 to 1. So I placed a bet on that. And I'm going with the Boston team total runs 2.5 over. And that's essentially betting that through the first 5 innings, they are going to score 3 runs. That's minus 130. So it is like, juiced up a tiny bit. Those are really only the bets that I like today. But what about DFS? You said you got the DFS mindset. What are you playing today?
Max Scherzer against the Minnesota Twins at 11,000. Yuri Perez going up against the Washington Nationals. Obviously, Welsh likes the first 5. I like this, 8.8K, really cheap. And then Mitch Keller at St. Louis, 8,000. So I like those. Stacks, Toronto and Coors, Tampa Bay versus Quantrill, Boston versus Lyles, and Baltimore versus Davies. If you want to avoid Coors, I have no problem going Tampa Bay, Baltimore, having fun there. Some value, you got Andrew Vaughn at 3.1K versus Erod. I like Erod, but if you want to be, Vaughn versus lefty. Sedan Rafael at 3K versus Lyles, and Wilyer Abreu at 2.8K versus Lyles. So a couple cheap Boston bats in really good spots.
I like how you say Coors. I don't know why you're saying it like a little bit of twang in there. Like, you want to play Coors, you can play Coors if you would like.
Maybe I'll go get me a yellow belly and have some fun.
That sounds fun. I have never looked so worn, by the way. I keep looking at myself in here. My eyes, I was up so late and I look so worn, but I have boosted up a little bit hanging with you guys. And maybe this will boost you guys up as well. The bit that at least you guys have, you have entertained me with, and you have let me attempt to entertain you with. Where in the world are Welsh and Corbin Carroll today? The hint was box office. Kind of a tough one. There's actually a really funny response in here that I did think of as well. But, let's go to the video and then Bubba will get a guess. Bubba, the guess was box office. Would you like to take a stab at it?
Yeah, I figured Oppenheimer might be inappropriate, so we're gonna go Barbie's Malibu Dream House.
All right. Well, yeah, I will tell you. Actually, I tried to do. I don't know if I told everybody this. I tried to do an Oppenheimer one, but I was rebuffed a little bit by the explosion. That was not allowed. My favorite answer in here was Concase actually said the Taylor Swift movie, which I was woken up the other day to my wife going, so one of our friends was in line because Taylor Swift is having some IMAX thing.
Dude,
so
insane.
she's like, I need $50. And I'm like, what is going on here? So
yeah, they're sitting in a theater to watch her 3-hour concert on an IMAX thing. I know multiple people that were in line yesterday to get tickets, and it blows my mind.
We weren't, but our friend was, and I'm out $50 now so they can go watch Taylor Swift. And I asked my daughter, I'm like, do you like Taylor Swift? She's like, oh, she's my favorite. She's like, but I only know 2 songs. And I'm like, oh man.
Thanks.
My
God
daughter's
bless
7,
you. Bless you, little girl.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm out. That was a very good guess. And actually, you know what? Probably would have been even a little bit better. I tried. You guys, you got me. You knew exactly where it was. Bubba, you're right. So many people were right. Me and Corbin Carroll going to Barbie Land. That's right. Look at us. We're so happy. How appropriate every part of this picture is, too.
Is that the same shirt you're wearing today?
That is the same shirt. Yeah, look at that. Look, it's even more appropriate. I told you I only got like one dad shirt. It's like it's me and son. Everyone's like, you guys kind of have the look. Yeah, it is the exact same shirt. You nailed it. A couple of the comments. I think the very first person was actually, I think it was Fenway Cheap Seats said Barbie Land. I mean, a lot of people got it. Barbie Land. Donnie got it there. Concase didn't. Michael Fisher, you guys got some. I will try to track those. A good one was Michael had said Welsh and Carroll need to go to Schwarberfest. So there's a call out from earlier in the year at Wawa. That would have been a good one. But yes, that is where we went. And I will even tell you behind the scenes, we're gonna have to get some new photos. I gotta figure out.
You and your boy have to do something this weekend. Go hang out.
You know what? We're gonna have to get out a little bit. We're gonna have to try to go have some fun. Maybe hit some baseballs.
Touch grass, as the kids say. Like go do
stupid game. My kid does it all the time. He'll be playing a game. He'll be like, "Yo, it's so stupid." I hate listening to kids now. He's like, "This guy's cracked. He doesn't even touch grass." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What does any of that mean?" He's like, "It's really good and means he doesn't go outside." I'm like, "All right." All right, well, I'm going to try to go touch some grass. There's some good weather out there. Hopefully you guys are rocking. Home run calls. I was about to get us out of here again. I don't have a board, so that is unfortunate, but I will tell you, let me go to it. Our Ethan was out. Blue Harvester is still in the lead at 51. Looks like was able to pick up one. In second place, Razor Ramon and JJ Tater at 46. Benchwarmer at 42. I am at 41 with another homer. I am top 5.
We both went deep on Wednesday. That was big.
Yeah, there's a good. Yeah, it's been a good homer run here. Bobby Good, R. Hoffman. There's a rest. We have, I believe, 9 of us that are over 40 and our first over 50. So that's pretty cool. Thank you guys very much. Home run call, Bubs. Where are you going for the weekend?
Since we're doing the entire weekend, I am taking David Schneider of the Jays in Coors.
Really?
As he destroys left-handed pitching, and they have Ty Block on Saturday and Austin Gomber on Sunday. So I'm going with David Schneider to be a little different.
Okay, I like that one. And also a note that I received from the uppers is there's no show on Monday because of Labor Day. So
good to know.
Yeah, I just remembered it. I asked before. So there's no show on Monday. So we are not going to be back till Wednesday. So in that entire run, I'm going to go with Mookie. I'm going to go with the Mooks to try to get me up here. Obviously, though, you can change your calls if you guys have a premium lockdown with FantasyPros. You can get in the Discord. You can make your calls with their home run bot, which is very cool. And you can do that. By the way, like, look at all this. What is Lee talking about here? Welsh going to see the Barbie movie is very believable. What are you trying to say there, Lee? I'd love to know what exactly. Yes, I saw the Barbie movie. I have kids. I have a daughter who absolutely loved it. And it was probably inappropriate for, by the way, when you go through there. Welsh should have played Ken. You know, the only representation Ken didn't have was a fat Ken. So I could have maybe done that. That was about all that we
there was no streamer Ken, podcaster Ken. They didn't have that. Like, I thought they were with the times.
No, I mean, they did have what was it, Alan, which was Michael Cera, which was a pretty funny character.
That's
But
pretty
I could have played like receding hairline, getting old, fat Ken. I would have been like perfect for it. Who has a podcast? Exactly. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Good luck. You guys know where to find us. BD Entric is at the Welsh. If you guys got questions, playoffs are going into next week. We will be back again on Wednesday for you. So have a fantastic one. Until then, Godspeed, friends. Peace out. Bye-bye. Bye. Goodbye.